Any objective spectator can see from the outside that Donald Trump is imploding. And now we have word from the inside that he appears bored, annoyed, and has lost his mojo, and the campaign is devising ways to keep him busy. This according to a bombshell report from the Washington Post today that hints that Trump's handlers are slyly manipulating the 78-year-old candidate.
Anytime I hit too hard, they say he was rambling. And I feel I have an obligation to speak in a certain way.
The headline I saw just a few minutes ago referencing the Washington Post article said Trump's aides are alarmed as the election slips away, and it said he's doing two specific things instead of focusing on what should be the campaign fight of his life, and I'll reveal what those things are and what his handlers are up to in just a minute. Until then, let's look at the problematic concerns according to insiders who spoke to the Post. With regards to Trump's lack of focus on the campaign trail, one told the Post Trump does not like reading issue-focused speeches that do not entertain his live audience. At an event Thursday at the southern border, the first words out of Trump's mouth took aim not at Harris's immigration policies, but instead at the Democrats' decision to choose Harris as President Joe Biden's replacement at the top of the ticket. And the Post goes on to outline his agitation with those who try to keep him on point. His frustration with his advisors burst into public Wednesday when he mocked them for telling him to focus on politics instead of personal insults. He then pulled the crowd on which they preferred, and when they predictably cheered louder for personal attacks, Trump joked, "My advisors are fired."
Please, again, remember, please, sir, don't get personal, talk about policy. Let me ask you about that. We're going to do a free poll. Here's the two questions. Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? Ready? Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? I don't know. My advisors are fired.
In just a few seconds, I'll reveal the things that are going on behind the scenes with the dazed and confused Trump. But first, this clip from today's This Week program on ABC that echoes the liability he has become to his own campaign that is prompting his aides to speak up with their DEFCON 1 concerns.
He clearly is flailing right now, and people have been telling him for weeks, focus on policy, focus on policy, focus on policy. He hasn't listened, and now he's really got a lot of ground to make up in these polls.
And you see it in his schedule, by the way. I mean, J-Mart, he's out there. I mean, he had been, let's face it, a lot of time in Mar-a-Lago, a lot of time in bed, a lot of golf.
Yeah. And a lot of time in court.
And a lot of time in court.
Let's not forget that.
So I mean, he's out there now.
But look
what he's saying when he gets out.
Let's be brutally honest. If you took a survey of the Republican caucus on Capitol Hill and said, would you prefer Donald Trump to play golf the rest of the campaign and let his campaign drive the messaging, or have Donald Trump do events? We all know which they prefer. He's at political health risk to himself when he travels and does events. Because, as Rachel points out, they want policy. He's never going to do policy. He doesn't want to talk about policy. That's boring for him.
And the mention of Trump's favorite game sets us up nicely for the grave concerns that Trump's aides have expressed. According to the Post, going back to the convention, aides did not want a situation where he was watching the convention every night, getting angry, and then just golfing all day and stewing, according to people who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private interactions. Trump also had grown annoyed with the news coverage that depicted him as not working as hard as his opponent, one person who talked to him said. It's hard to believe that a stubborn and narcissistic Trump would have so-called handlers, but the Post reports that someone is calling the shots to keep him occupied. So the campaign launched back-to-back events over the past week with the goal of counter-programming the Democratic convention and securing news coverage, as other campaigns have often done, but also as a way to keep Trump busy. Keep Trump busy, as if he's a toddler. I love it. Trump's current predicament presents a fascinating quandary for his campaign team. His retreat to the golf course serves as a double-edged sword, on one hand shielding him from potential blunders, but on the other robbing him of crucial campaign exposure. Democrats watch with glee, sensing that every day Trump remains out of the public eye, their message goes unchallenged and the opportunity to raise a head grows. Or to put it in golf terms, Trump's campaign finds itself in serious rough. His many bogeys have driven a wedge between him and undecided voters, and every swing is potential for another shank. I'm Dan for Occupy Democrats, and while I take a penalty for excessive golf puns, tell me with a comment below, do you think it's best for Team Harris if Trump stays on the golf course stewing or takes more wild swings on the campaign trail?
He is someone who, according to people who've played with him, cheats. He likes to move the ball. He likes to reposition the ball on the green. He often comes up with a different number on his score sheet than those who are playing with him might have come up with. He's had a strong belief that exercise is bad, but he makes an exception for golf, which he sees as both a social activity and a way of asserting his power, his authority. He uses his golfing time to meet with people who want something from him or people he wants something from, and he has done this throughout his business career and has continued through his time in the White House.